Welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast. We come to you early on Monday morning, a Masters Monday morning, where the Sunday the Masters is playing out in front of us. We've got my two brothers alongside me, Angus and Harry, who are preparing for a massive few weeks harvesting on our family farm. Boys, lovely to have you with me. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Harry and I are currently rugged up because, as everyone in Australia would know, when you're coming out of summer and you have your first little cold snap, it's all guns blazing. You throw the heater on, you rug up. So I think it's 5 degrees, which is enough for that.
Feels like a 2.4 though, so don't discount that.
No, I'm a big feels like guy.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the lounge room with the heater on, the Masters on the TV. It's a good morning.
And unfortunately, you guys have got to get put to work, so you can't even sit there and properly enjoy it once the podcast record's done.
No, that's right. I feel like harvest always collides with the Masters. The amount of times I've been like getting the header ready in the morning, trying to find a pocket of service to update this leaderboard, it's nuts. But anyways, we're here.
Yeah, it is usually around that time, or sometimes it's also when this is one of the great weekends when it falls. Masters weekend falls on Easter weekend. And you just, it's just perfect. I think it might have been 2023. It might have been the first year there was Gather Round. I think the Masters fell on Gather Round on Easter weekend, and it was absolutely glorious. Well, boys, as we get started into today's episode, our wider weeks, I was the best man at a wedding this week. The great Brendan Timothy Buckley got married in Noosa, my best mate. He was best man at my wedding. And it's safe to say that I feel like today is probably the first day where I've resurfaced. I've come back to life. I don't feel like my brain has been replaced by a bowling ball. But it was a lovely day. You know, nice to get up to Noosa for a few days. Weather was great. The wedding was beautiful. Buck and Bonnie, everything came up a treat. They had a lovely time. I definitely had a lovely time as best man. Gave a killer speech and something I wanted to bring to the group that I want to get out there. I come from the era where our parents were very susceptible to marketing, right? Whether that be in the New Idea or the Women's Weekly or the Courier Mail, or it was just on free-to-air TV or potentially on radio. Oh yeah,
the Queensland country life.
All of our parents of people that were born around when I was born, they were a sucker for marketing. And in the 90s and the 2000s, it was marketed that Carlton breweries, I think it was Carlton breweries made it, that Crown Lager was the beer for the special occasion, right? Fancy brown bottle, golden sticker on it, beautiful crown writing. You'd only see people drink them at the Brownlow or farming families or, families on Christmas Day. So you always knew you were at a special occasion when your old man had the Crownies out. And so I've sort of surveyed this over the last few years, and it's 100% a thing. So between me and my mates, it's a thing now that any special occasion we kind of take the mickey a little bit and we buy a case of Crownies or buy some Crownies. And Brendan Buck, the groom, they had Crownies in the fridge, which I think was a nice little hat tip to the special occasion. So I spent my Thursday evening drinking copious amounts of Crown Lager for the special occasion, and being someone who doesn't usually drink that much, and it's usually a special occasion, I was amazed at how I pulled up.
Look, Lachlan, it's a special lager for a special occasion, and that's something we've always said.
Yeah, and the specialist of occasions, I would say. So it was a lovely day. They looked beautiful. Everyone spoke so well.
Or Buck and Bonnie.
Buck and Bonnie. Everyone spoke so well. We got to play the golf course, Noosa Springs, that morning, which was awesome. I did hole a putt from about 30 metres out, which was beautiful. Nearly did it again from slightly further out.
You didn't play a full hole with the utility?
No, we did a 4-man Ambrose because there was like 16 of us. So, but it was lovely. I would recommend getting. I really want to play the. I was hitting them okay. For someone who has played as little golf as I have over the last little bit. I was surprised at how well I was hitting it. But I really want to go back there and play the full 18. I think we got photos, 'cause, being the best man, I was obviously in a lot of the photos. We got photos on the front nine, and it looked a lot nicer. Not that the back nine didn't look nice, but it just looked like a bit more fun on the front nine. So I definitely want to go back and play that. One story I do want to bring is, Friday morning, wake up hungover, and Celia and I, we didn't need to be out of where we were at the resort until 10. Everyone else was asleep. We woke up and we're like, oh, we'd love to go for a swim. As you do. I'm a big, if I'm hungover, I love to go for a dip. So we get our stuff ready and we go to the pool at the resort, but couldn't get in the pool because there was a senior swimming class. And I was like, I'm not really in the mood to be swimming laps. So across the road, there's a development where it's for Airbnbs and people live there. And so knowing full well, I went, look, I'm not staying here, but I'd just like to swim in your pool. So we roll up and you need a little swipe to get in. And there's an old man, not an old man, middle-aged, fit guy getting out of the pool. And I've pulled you wouldn't believe it, mate. I've left my keys in the room. Could you please let me in? He lets me in. We go for a swim. And I just thought, just got to act a bit confident, get it done. But it was
Absolutely.
It was a lovely wedding. We all had a great time, and they're off to Vanuatu on their honeymoon. So I hope they're enjoying that.
Nice.
But yeah, that was essentially my little bit. I did one of the boys was on the DJ decks, and Fireball came on by Pitbull, and I was doing the Fortnite emote, which I might put on social media later because there's a pretty funny video of it. Yeah, that was quite funny. But yeah, it was a lovely wedding. Lovely wedding.
Nice. Would have been good to have a rip.
Yeah, I mean, I'd need to go back through my Whoop data. I actually can't remember the last rip I had. My last serious rip was probably Jed's wedding, which was September 2024. I've had little rips here and there, but nothing like drinking 15 Crownies.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier that year when you guys won the BBL, but that was early 2024.
Yeah, that was early 2024. But one thing we do have, boys, before we get into the wider football, so we're obviously doing an early record now as you two are getting ready to start harvest. There'll be lots of boys listening. They'll be getting hot and horny over some harvest chat. I'm not one of them. So the final round of the Masters is happening as we speak. Currently, Rory and Cameron Young are through 9 and 11 under. Rosie through 10 at 12 under. So that's going to be playing out as we speak. But our first episode of the Town Files is dropping on Thursday. That'll be Thursday, the 16th of April. We are releasing them weekly, every Thursday across the next 3 weeks. First up, in reverse birth order, is Harry, where I sat down and interviewed Harry. So Harry is the first one in the hot seat. That's going to drop in your ears Thursday, the 16th of April. Then on the 23rd, you'll have Angus, and on the 30th, the series will conclude with me. Boys, anything to add before we move on to the Lions win in Gather Round?
No.
Nah, my week was pretty boring. I didn't do much. Just did work. And that's about
welcome
it.
to the real world, Harry.
Yeah. No, I was on uni. No, Harry, what about the terminating wasps? When you and I were kitted up, because the farm is infested with wasps at the moment.
It's bad. It's bad. So I was cleaning up the silos. I was smacking them with a wooden mallet. And I'm just walking around there smacking it. And all of a sudden, a beep of wasps come at me. And he gets stung on the finger. And I run as quick as possible back to the house. And then I get kitted up. I put a hoodie on. I get my mortine. And I go and smack them. And I do a few laps. And I ended up getting 8 wasp nests around the 3 silos. It was bad. There were some big ones there too. And yeah. We then got some on a old rodeo that Lachlan town crashed. And
slowest rollover you've ever seen.
Yeah, there was a couple of big wasp nests, and Harry and I did a night mission on Thursday night.
That was Thursday night. I was literally at the wedding, and anyone that's been to Noosa, the service is absolutely terrible. So like you can't really do anything. And like I'm there sitting at the table, like trying to load these, just going like I haven't been on my phone all day, and then got my phone back to because I had my speech on it. And I'm there looking at it, watching these videos of Harry from the whole day, going, "What is he doing? How?" And obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not listening to any of the audio. I don't know. I don't know a word anyone's saying. And then it like cuts to later on where you guys were at the rodeo and you're all dressed up. I'm like, "What is happening?" I was like,
Yeah.
"It's probably best I don't ask any questions."
No, mate, the farm is infested with wasps, and I reckon we've really knocked the population down, which is good.
Yeah,
Because they're angry little things.
I know a pain in the backside. What do you? So for
Actually,
those that
Granddad got done yesterday when I went to pick up the shuttle.
Did he?
Yeah. He just
Oh,
seemed not be
jeez.
phased. He's got a bit more ticker than I do.
Mate, I
for
hope the wasp
those
is doing okay after biting Granddad, after stinging Granddad. Fair income.
it might have bent the stinger and come out.
That's what I'm thinking.
For those that are not familiar with farm life and wasps, how do you kill a wasp's nest?
Well,
It's a spray, isn't it? Like knocks
it's
them
a
out.
spray, but after it's just like we just use like bug spray. But after talking to a
It's
couple
deodorant
of
and a
farmers,
lighter.
well, mate, after talking to a couple of farmers this week, just about our wasp dramas, you start hearing a few of the tactics people have gotten. One bloke that I talked to carries around a gas bottle and blow torches them. So he
Yeah, I've
actually
heard that.
carries a
I've
gas
heard that.
bottle, turns the gas on, and
Yeah, I've heard that. I've also seen people do it with like things of fuel where they stick when they have them like on the roof, they stick the fuel up there, and then obviously they die from the fumes.
Yeah, well, you
which
just
is
couldn't do it in this economy. You wouldn't waste the fuel.
no, Harry. It's
You'd
that
be-
you can put the fuel back in it. Just I mean, I guess the wasps would fall into the fuel, so you need to get the sift out to sift the wasps out. Anyway, enough of that, boys. Gather round. We're going to start with the Lions. They had a 26-point win over the North Melbourne Kangaroos on Saturday in the Barossa, which I get an absolute insult that the defending back-to-back premiers are at the Barossa, while at the same time Essendon versus Melbourne was on at Adelaide Oval.
that was funny.
Look, in my mind, couldn't you just, if you want a big Melbourne team at Adelaide Oval, just make the Lions play Essendon there, and then send Melbourne and put the Melbourne Derby out at the Barossa? Like, I feel like that's a bit of a no-brainer. But Andrew Dillon did.
Melbourne don't even have many fans themselves.
No. But Andrew Dillon did
So
come out and
I don't really see why the Demons.
no, but Andrew Dillon did come out and say that if South Australia hold on to Gather Round, which it looks like they're going to, they've done a fantastic job with it. Next year, Brisbane will be at the Adelaide Oval, rightfully so. I don't know why it took them so long. But I thought this was a mature performance from Brisbane. They were challenged early, and I think the best teams, they always stand up when they're challenged, and the cream rose to the top. And look, take nothing away from North Melbourne. I thought they were actually quite good. The conditions were a little bit impairing, I would say, Harry. There was quite a large breeze. And that happens when you're at such an open ground.
The whole Gather Round has been.
Yeah, I mean, and that's again something we'll touch on. The whole of Gather Round, it's just the weather has not been great, at least for the first half of it. But again,
There'll be
North
a couple
Test,
of South Australian farmers happy with the rain they're getting.
big time. But North tested them for 3 quarters, and then Brisbane, I guess like we saw against St Kilda, they just, at the end of the day, they just have too much in the locker, and they improved their record to 3-2. Any wider thoughts, boys, from the performance?
It's a game last year that I would have thought, like, last year we would have lost that. Like, last year it just feels like teams would just roll over the top of us there. And they didn't this time. We actually, showed a bit of grit.
Yeah, I would agree. I think also, I've seen a little bit of commentary that it was disappointing that the Lions didn't win by more, or people thought they would win by more. And I think that's a credit to North. Like, I honestly reckon, like, young Cooper Trembath up forward took some massive grabs, and he was excellent. LDU, like, he was great as well. 27 disposals, 7 clearances. Sheasel always racks him up. He had 6 clearances. So I think this has been a sign that like North are genuinely building and are improving steeply under Clarkson, which I guess is all you can really ask for after they've been really stinky for a really long time. And like, you can sit here and you can be like, oh, it's not, like Brisbane, we should have won by more. You can look at it that way, but you can also go like other teams are allowed to improve. You know, like you're not going to walk over. North Melbourne won't always be a walkover like they have been in the past. And the same will happen for West Coast eventually. Like, teams are allowed to improve, and the league is designed that you're going to see teams improve. We don't want people being terrible forever. But again, I mean,
you're allowed to not beat a side by 60 points.
Yeah, I mean, you don't always have to win to beat North by 80 points at Gather Round, which is what we've been doing. Like,
you don't always have to do a Sydney v West Coast.
No. One thing I will say, Oscar Allen again. He's really building into the year now. 3 goals.
Yep.
And he's really delivering.
He looks like he's having so much fun with the Lions. Just like from social media stuff as well. Like
did you see his comments about him and Sam Mitchell?
No.
He was basically talking about like being at Gather Round and Sam Mitchell being there. It's like being in the same place as your ex-girlfriend. I thought that was fun.
That's good. Yeah.
He does look like he's having fun. And for someone who was a captain last year, sorry, Justin Rose just dropped a shot. As you saw him last year, he just looked so hamstrung by everything with West Coast, like being the captain and the whole like having to come out and apologise. It's no surprise that he comes to Brisbane. He just gets to be Oscar. Like he just gets to play footy. Like he doesn't really have to worry about anything.
He's gone 8 goals in his last 3 games. So he's really finding some form. Along with our other recruit, Sam Draper. Another great
he was good.
game. He was very, very, very good.
One thing I did enjoy
Coleman Jones again, like not that bad, but like he's still 2 goals. That was good. He got his big celebration in front of his 30 friends and family.
2 goals. Second one was a set shot. Wouldn't have wanted to have been from much further out. Otherwise, he probably would have forgotten how to kick like he usually does. But he pumped it straight through. I think for Brisbane, Lachie Neale, excellent. 10 clearances from 30 disposals, which was lovely. He was definitely back to his best. And finally, after his 4-week hiatus, we saw Harris Andrews back in a Lions jumper, the skipper. Both skippers were out there. Hugh McCluggage was on restricted game time. He played about 65 to 70% of the game. And I think when you have 2 guys like that coming into your squad, you can only improve. And I actually thought the back line looked a little bit disjointed because they weren't used to having the big dog back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great to have them back. It's just like when you bring in players like that into your team that just beat Collingwood by 54 points, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, big time.
Actually, Lincoln McCarthy was so good.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, you can definitely see he's got some pretty good footy under his belt now. I thought he did. I thought as he would be, Hugh McCluggage just looked rusty. Like they were obviously a little bit touch and go on actually playing him, and they ended up going, well, we've got the extra on the bench now, so we'll play him. And I thought he actually just got in there, did his job, was never going to rip trees up, but I'm hoping that he can start to break the shackles over the next few weeks. One thing we will get onto, so we had potentially some MRO dramas. So Dane Zorko had a brain fade and hit Paul Curtis in the meat and 2 veg, which ended up getting off. Now, I looked at that and like the commentators, they made it a lot worse than it was. Like when you actually watched it back on slow-mo, it wasn't as bad as it looked, which obviously the MRO looked at. But you also just go, Dane, you probably don't need to try and touch his willy. Like, I think you can probably
for the change rooms.
I think you can probably leave that. I think just let Paul stand up.
It wouldn't have mattered because he's injured anyway.
Yeah, he pulled his calf, which That might be like a 4-week injury. I reckon, based off how
Yeah.
Fags was talking about it.
Yep.
But again, like anything that happens when the Lions have an injury to a player like that, it's really exciting because we're probably going to see Kitty Coleman back in his 2023 role. I reckon.
Yeah.
He's been doing well too.
Or Jasper Fletcher, which both are as exciting as each other.
I reckon they may rotate both of them through there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justin Rose has just lost the plot on.
Yeah, he
11.
just smacked it over the back. Yeah. Well,
Amen. Corner's got him.
there's going to be plenty more twists and turns.
I think we'll probably see a straight swap in for Ainsworth.
For Zorko, yeah, and then they'll just structurally move some magnets around. Because we've got Melbourne at the MCG.
Which I think... Yeah.
Which will be interesting. Which will be really interesting. I mean, the Lions...
Just beat them.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions just now look like they're really starting to get into their work. Like, it genuinely looks like, okay, and I mean, when you break down the 2 losses, they've improved their record to 3-2. But when you break down the 2 losses, like, should have beaten the Dogs. Like, that's not even a debate. And then the Sydney one with who we had out and everything. SCG can be a tough ground to play. You look at it and you go, it's just a write-off. So, I mean, they're there and thereabouts, and we've got Adelaide after Melbourne. So, another hiatus before a home game. But, undefeated at Gather Round. We keep improving. And I'm really excited. I think, we're really starting to see Brisbane get into their work, which is exciting for our three-peat.
Yeah.
Three-peat repeat, I guess you could say.
Three-peat campaign.
Angus, we might be done harvest by the Adelaide game now.
That's on the 27th. Is it?
Yeah.
28th?
That's that weekend, Sunday afternoon. Even if you boys are not present, I do have an emergency break glass option for the food review of who will be joining me. Someone who is very up and about based on his team's second place standings on the NRL ladder. That's the West Tigers. Young Toby of Toby Berrigan is going to be going to that game with his future father-in-law, and he wants to be a part of the food review. So stay tuned. I said that even if Angus and Harry are there, that you'll get a spot for sure.
He can be there.
We'll have you.
So happy.
I was playing Fortnite with him and Jerry of
Toby at the footy.
Las Vegas fame, and the two of them, well, Toby especially, would not stop talking about how the Tigers were $2.80 to make the top 4. And he kept asking us, he goes, am I getting ahead of myself? But $2.80 is pretty good.
That's unreal.
So it's exciting. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.
Now, hopefully we'll be finished harvest by then. I'm actually not sure. I might just have to push the header a bit more, kick it in the guts a bit, get there.
Yeah. Boys, moving on to the Gather Round at Wild.
About the moisture to Dad at the end of nights.
Dad, it's 5 a.m. The moisture's good. Let's go.
Looking at Gather Round at large, boys, we saw the first half of Gather Round be pretty stinky football with the weather, which we'll look at Adelaide and the Carlton game, and then obviously Freo Collingwood. This Adelaide-Carlton game I described as 2 bald men fighting over a comb, Adelaide and Carlton. And Carlton obviously are so worried about their brand image that they're not going to sack Michael Voss this early in the season. But you do sit here and you go, like, Adelaide at Adelaide is not an easy task to begin with, let alone when you're playing it in what looks like monsoonal rain, let alone you're at Gather Round and everyone's up and about. It's the first night. But they had another good first quarter, and it was followed by the stinkiest second quarter you've ever seen. And you just go, I don't know how much longer this can go on.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I disagree. I think
every week.
Out of this game, the last thing we need to talk about is Carlton. They were fine. I think it's Adelaide not putting them away by more is what's worse. Like, it's kind of what you expect from Carlton. It's more than you expected. This could have been bad, and they didn't let it be terrible. They were in the game till pretty late.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of this game. I did watch the mini. It did feel a little bit like that. Like, and I don't know how much of that was Adelaide and how much of that was how much of it was Adelaide, but then also how much of it was the conditions. Mate, Rosie's having a meltdown here.
What's he on? Is he 10 under?
He's currently on the 12th hole, but he has just tried to chip onto the green, and he's done what I would do, and he didn't get it over the ridge, and it rolled back down.
Oh.
How far behind are you? I saw that hole about 5 minutes ago.
I'm 5 minutes behind. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, I keep refreshing. So McIlroy's now on 10 under, and Rose is... sorry, 11.
Sorry, Harry.
Rose is 10 under.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you. That's what you meant when you said Rosie's just had a meltdown. I thought it was when he the other shot he hit. But sorry, back to sorry, listeners. There's going to be heaps of that throughout this episode because we're watching. We would have liked to have recorded a bit later, but just with harvest
We're
dynamics.
watching the Masters while also recording. So.
Yeah. So you'll get our live reaction. One thing I will say, I didn't know whether it was like Adelaide not being as good as they were last year, or if it was also a little bit of a mix of the conditions, because the conditions weren't great. Moving on to the next few games, I feel like with Adelaide, they're still very much a question mark. Like, I genuinely don't know if they're as good as they were last year. They were helped last year by a very easy draw. But next week, they have St Kilda at home. Then they have us. They should win that comfortably, and then they'll rock up to the Gabbatoir and they'll drop a game, I reckon. Anything else, boys, you want to add on this game? Or on the wider Carlton, Michael Voss? None of that, Harry. You can see everyone beating us at the Gabba.
Just on Adelaide. That's a good point. Teams can come up to the Gabba with just such a free hit. And it's annoying because, like...
That's what happens when you're the
It's kind of
Premiers.
like versing Adelaide and Adelaide. No one cares if you don't win.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. But I also feel like
but
it's what happens when you come up against the Premiers. Like, you want to beat them. You want to test yourself against the best. And I think Brisbane have gotten a lot better at preparing themselves for that. But also, I just feel like Adelaide, they came off having a really easy draw last year, and then this year they have been responded with a draw that's a bit more adequate to what their performance was last year, and it's up to them to rise to that. Now, I'll be honest, Fremantle Collingwood. Now, my wife will claim she's a Fremantle fan, but really she supports Brisbane. This game looked really stinky.
Oh. And the scoreline.
I don't know if either of you saw any of this. I saw the end where Freo got the goal late to put him in front. But the scoreline, for me, you see an AFL scoreline like that, and you go, my immediate thoughts are 45-39. It either was pissing down with rain or Ross Lyon was involved. And I know Ross Lyon was not involved, which meant it was pissing down with rain.
Yeah.
I was just happy Collingwood lost, so it was actually not bad watching.
I love it when Collingwood choke. It's football's greatest joke. I would have been asleep when the end of the first quarter happened. And that wasn't because I had the game on. I absolutely didn't. I was very tired after a night of partying. But, mate, Freo moved to 4-1. Say what you will about the rain and whatever. They can now go to 4-1, which again, I feel like we've been sitting here and wanting and waiting for them to really rise into their own and show us all that this list can move forward. And we're finally seeing that.
That one was a game against Geelong that they almost won.
Yeah, they probably should be 5-0.
Yeah, it was a game against Geelong at Geelong. No, they're in a good spot at the moment.
They are. And the other side of this is with Collingwood. They have not gone over 100 points. They've not scored over 100 points in 14 straight games across 2 seasons. And that's a forward line that got rid of Brody Myercheck or didn't give him a contract that he was asking for. And they didn't really replace him with anyone. So that's basically like more than half a season. I know that goes across 2 seasons where they have not scored more than 100 points. That is extremely concerning. And I think we're finally seeing the drop-off. I think it's finally here, and I am loving every moment of it.
Basking in the glory of it, mate.
Oh, yeah. Harry, one thing I'll ask you, how this continues, how long does Craig McRae have? Is he a coach?
Question, because
do you see him as a coach that will look to rebuild Collingwood's list, or as these guys leave, will he also go?
I don't think he won't be one to leave the job himself. And I don't know if I can see them sacking him. But I think their expectations for the team are higher than what they're looking like they're going to perform. So they might go. They might look and go, well, we've got the best player in the game. They would think they have a good list, and then they go, you're not giving us the results of a good list, so we're going to sack you.
Yeah, so he signed a 2-year extension on the 15th of December last year. So he's got this year and 2 others.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I kind of look at it and go like, you don't have any real draft capital to be able to bring guys in, and you're kind of not performing. I mean, obviously, it's what are we at? It's at round 5, so there's still plenty of football ahead of them. But I just don't really see it improving that much. Like, they'll win games. I probably have them like just at maybe the wild card. I reckon they're probably either just in the top 8 or a wild card team. But as we saw against us, like if they have some injuries to some of their key guys, like it could really fall off a cliff. They just don't have the depth. Moving on from Collingwood, we've got the what was billed as I would say the game of the round, Hawthorn versus the Western Bulldogs, and it ended up being a bit of one-way traffic, really. And we spoke last week. We said I would be concerned if I was a Bulldogs fan by the way they played against Essendon. And I know they lost Tim English and Ed Richards got injured late. But like genuinely, that they came off that bye and they were looking red hot. And they had that first quarter last week, and then they kind of just fallen away. I'd be pretty concerned, actually. Like you sit there and you start with a 3-0 start, and then you get to this point, and Bulldogs fans would be going like, "What are we doing? Where are we going wrong?"
Definitely a few injuries.
Yeah, to the point where the Hawthorn won the hitouts 64-17.
Yeah.
Harry, who was in the ruck for the Dogs?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe Rory Lobb.
Did they deploy a proper ruck, or did they just go, let me have a look? Because that is damning. That is absolutely damning.
I'm trying to think who...
Yeah, Rory Lobb and Lewis Emmett. Rory Lobb, I think, played as the main ruck, which
he's my favourite ruck.
Which again, like you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like you're taking someone away from your back line. You're taking someone away from your back line to then put in your ruck, which then just means you're kind of like impinging yourself as it goes on, and you're essentially trying to use a band-aid solution. But Hawthorn also won their clearances. They won clearances by 12, completely dominated, and Western Bulldogs go from being at the top of the ladder and what everyone thought was a proper contender. And I actually saw, then getting beaten by 40 points. I saw Kane Cornes say that this game was to see who was Brisbane's real challenger. And it's funny because, Harry, you've said many times on the podcast so far this year where you kind of went, Hawthorn, yeah, they're good, but they just haven't quite convinced me. And it's crazy to think that they're 4-1 and you're kind of going, well, yeah, their best is good, but there's still a bit of a gap between their best and their worst.
Yeah, I think with Hawthorn, with what they were last year, I'm still not convinced because, like, they didn't make any changes last year. Their team has gotten worse, losing James Warple. I just don't see how they can be Brisbane's main challenger. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Like,
No.
they should not be this good.
And, it's a decent sample size now. Like, most teams have all played 5 games. Well, every team's played
Gee, that's a
5
good shot
games.
from Rory.
It's kind of like, feed in there. Yes, Rory.
Rory. Yep.
So, to round off the Western Bulldogs Hawthorn game, right now, we're after round 5. Every team's played 5 games. Where do you guys see both of these teams finishing?
Hawthorn and Bulldogs. Sorry.
Do you think they're both a top 4 team?
Not. Probably not Bulldogs.
Nah, I reckon they're both top 4 teams. I reckon maybe Hawthorn might slip out to a 5 or 6. But I think they're both could easily be in the top 4 along Sydney and Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Actually, I think these are the other 2 teams. Hawthorn, they will be there and thereabouts as normal, but both of these teams have a brain fade in them. So that's going to be a really interesting watch this space on them. Just to look at who they have next in round 6. The Bulldogs play the Cats in Geelong. And, massive Thursday game. Carlton Collingwood at the MCG. That's going to be an absolute cracker. And
Please.
the
Hawks, can Carlton get it done? Can they?
Hawks play Port
I
Marble.
would
So,
love that. Imagine Carlton beating Collingwood. Oh, the footy world would be going insane.
boys, now I feel like we've been quite harsh on Essendon the last little bit, rightfully. So they had their first win over Melbourne, which was a massive surprise.
Yeah.
They were
For that.
no, they
We're
honestly
all going to die at some point.
they were good. I really thought that Essendon were quite good. They did quite a good job. I mean, a big monkey off the back. Was that their first win in 17 games? Is that right?
Yeah.
Harry made the joke to me on the weekend that there would have been more people on the inside of their team song than the outside, which I thought was funny. The old inside out. But did Essendon show enough to suggest that they're not as bad as they've looked? And don't forget, this was coming off the back end of a really, they competed with the Bulldogs after quarter time last week.
Yeah, but like Richmond beat Gold Coast last year, and Richmond are still bad. I think it's shown that like they got some troops back, like Jordan Ridley, back in defence, and yeah, I don't think they're still deep in the throes of a rebuild, but there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and I think for Melbourne, they rose up and performed above their level last week against the Gold Coast. Gold Coast also probably went down a little bit to their level, but also it's kind of hard when a team's so young and on the rise and they've got a new coach and they're changing the way they play. It's kind of hard to then sustain that for a second week. You do see these dips that go up and down, and obviously losing to Essendon, you would absolutely say is a bit of a dip. But I mean, Essendon at some point the team's due. At some point a team's going to win a game. So I thought that was good to see. Archie Roberts was fantastic. He had 40 touches and really got the job done.
He had a heat.
Now, we had also what was billed as a top-of-the-table clash, Sydney versus Gold Coast. Now, maybe I didn't give this game the respect going into it that it deserved, but I just thought it was a no-brainer that Sydney would win this. And they ended up being quite comfortable winners.
Yeah, Sydney Suns and then Hawks Bulldogs are 2 games that I didn't expect to have such a margin on them.
No, neither. I didn't either. Harry, what was your thoughts on that game?
A kick clash. I couldn't tell who was winning and who was losing.
What actually, a bit of a question to the floor. What do you guys think of Gold Coast pink kit?
Oh,
I like it, but why are you wearing it against Sydney? They're red and white. It's the dumbest thing. How would the
Yeah.
AFL let that slide?
I like their pink kit more than I like their home kit, where you can't even see like the logo.
Because it was a pink and then it was charcoal pants, wasn't it? Which I don't think was doing enough.
Yeah, and think now it's
Yeah, I
white
think-
kits.
I find the AFL. I'm probably saying to clubs that because everyone's been wearing different gather round strips. It's become a thing. It's like the unofficial kind of heritage round.
Yeah.
If I'm the AFL, I'm going to people. I'm going to clubs. Going, I don't need to know what you're designing for gather round, but can you just tell me the color scheme? I know. Like, can you just tell me? You just tell me what you're planning because I don't need any of this rogue stuff. Because like they would have been going like, oh, Sydney will wear red. Gold Coast usually have their like blue kit they've had in the past. It sounds so dumb. You've got to factor that in, but from a footballing point of view, Harry. Oh, sorry, favourite gather round strip?
West Coast.
Kids, yeah.
West Coast.
Looks so good.
Yeah,
Yep.
West Coast. That kit was so hated back in the day, but as
Yeah.
nostalgia comes forward, it ends up being much better.
McIlroy with
Storage
a bird.
drops in. He's now 2 ahead. One thing I will ask, Harry, from a footballing point of view, this was the top of the table clash. What did you think of Sydney versus Gold Coast?
Gold Coast didn't look great. Sydney looked pretty good. Sydney looked like a real premiership threat. Gold Coast didn't.
Yeah, Gold Coast they feel like they're still trying to work it out. Like they might be a team that's really good at home, but might struggle on the road a little bit. Geez, Rosie's
gained a
bit
shot.
on that. Rosie's left a bit on that putt. Bit of meat left on the bone, Justin.
It was a bit. It was one of those games where the scoreline looked worse than it actually was. Like, do you know when those games when a team gets out to like they kick the first 4 goals of the game?
Yeah, and then
the
it's like
margin just
steady.
stays
Yeah.
like that.
Yep. Kind of like
Yeah.
us when we played Sydney.
That was what it was like.
Shit. Yeah.
Which is what Carlton need to do.
Yes. Now,
They're
one thing I'm
coming
going
a
to
bit hot. Yeah.
One thing, the Sunday of Gather Round was pretty stinky, so I'm just going to quickly skim through this. Geelong smacked West Coast. West Coast were competitive for a bit, and then Geelong kicked away. The exact same thing happened against Richmond. Richmond came back. Sorry, GWS versus Richmond. Richmond came back a bit later, but GWS steadied and smacked them. And then Port Adelaide lose another one at home. St Kilda got the job done in, I guess.
That was the worst umpiring I've ever seen.
Oh,
Yeah.
some
I
of
was,
the free kicks that were going against Port, I was like, gee.
Yeah, you could tell the crowd was pretty angry. I had one eye on that game, and then because I was playing Fortnite last night. Shout out to Buzz Lightyear being in Fortnite, by the way. What a world we live in. Yeah, you can. I don't know if it's Buzz Lightyear. You can get him as a skin.
Is Woody there as well?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's Buzz, Zerg, and there's something else. I then had this on while I was preparing for the podcast, and yeah, just stinky. Like just like there's some of those umpiring decisions where you just go, I don't know what's going on. But leading into this next round, Harry, I know you've got a point you want to get onto about a new umpiring decision, but it looks like so far that Freo and Hawthorn are right up there in the competition to compete against the best. If Collingwood smack Carlton this weekend, like smack them, 10 goals or more, does Michael Voss keep his job?
I still think
I'm going to say no.
Too much of
I think they'll sack him.
It's too much of a bad look.
But it's the emotion of losing. It's the emotion of getting smacked by your biggest rival. Like, I'm sorry, but like,
yes, but I feel like they're going to go.
No,
If we just like emotionally do this, it's more of a bad look. Like, I'd rather sack him next week, like the week after.
Yeah, I just knowing how vain Carlton are, I just don't know if he survives that. If they get smacked like really badly,
what are you trying to get out of it? Like, do you
I
reckon
think-
keeping him is going to help you? And I think a lot of Collingwood supporters just want something fresh.
Sorry, Carlton fans. Yeah, I think they just want to change. I think they're a bit sick of it.
Yeah.
But also be careful what you wish for as well.
Yeah. I feel sorry
Now-
for him.
Big time. Now, Harry, the new rule, the lasso. What's the actual name of it?
Isn't it just last disposal?
Last disposal. You have noticed a little bit of a pattern.
It's stupid. I've got the AFL website up here of rule changes for 2026. Introduce a free kick for last disposal out of bounds between the arcs. Now, if a ball brushes someone's leg, they don't get a disposal for it, do they? So why, when it brushes their leg and it goes out of bounds, is a free kick given? Like that, they're not getting a disposal. I just think it's a silly thing. It's quickly turned into last touch, not last disposal. And the AFL were adamant that it was going to be last disposal and not last touch.
Mm.
I think they've
And I think,
missed the
yeah.
mark. I think the umpires missed the mark in the actual interpretation. I think it's got to be a genuine play at the footy, not just let me handball this ball into my opponent's
Yeah, I
leg.
don't like
no,
that.
you get
I
a
think there
disposal
needs
for that
to be a
around the
thing where
ground.
I think there needs to be where a player has a disposal is where a player has elected to dispose of the football, right? That by elect they've made a decision to dispose of the football. You handballing it into someone's leg, like in football, where they try to kick it out for a throw in or whatever when it's close. It doesn't apply. It's a manipulation of the rules. It also for me is a very poorly. It's a poor implementation of the rule because why is it 4 rounds into a season you've had to change the rule or change the interpretation of the rule that you've brought in? This is one of the things that I think a lot of people are so frustrated with the AFL is not only do you keep adding in these rules, and some of them are fine, but you then change them on the fly and everyone gets so frustrated because it's like, no, you needed to do adequate research and adequate implementation strategy of said rule so that you don't have to watch it play out for 4 rounds and then go, oh, we don't like that's not doing what we thought it was going to do. It's like, well, how much did you stress test the rule? Like, how much did you actually look at it? How many people did you speak to that play in the sandful to go, hey, how are ways that people get around it? Because diving on the football as it goes out of bounds is a no-brainer, but it would never have happened if you just baked it into the rule to begin with, which I'm sure you would have been able to find out if you had conversations with people where the rule is in place. I just think it's dumb.
I've got to say, I don't actually hate. I don't hate the running and trying to punch it out to stop the free kick. I actually think that should have been something that's kept. That's not a bad thing.
No, that's just smart gamesmanship.
intent.
No, that's smart gamesmanship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like the problem with the AFL, it's not the rules coming in, it's the way they change them on the fly. I think that's what gets the general AFL public so angry is where it's like, can you stop? It's like when they did the clamp down on dissent. It's like, so for a round, if a guy stuck his hands out and was like, what, you gave 50? But now you have players swearing at umpires all the time. That's not 50. And that's actual dissent. That's the thing you should actually be clamping down on. And it's like just this moving and shaking of right now we're going to put this as there's these rounds where they just clamp down on these rules. And it's like, hey, why don't you just officiate it properly the whole time? So that's a frustrating thing.
Then you look at the NRL and there's captains blowing up at the refs and stuff.
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah. And
I kind of do like that about the AFL where it's like, you can't just have these blow-ups at the refs, the umpires, because then they'll just give you a 50.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. We should be keeping that. So
because
I think
the NRL, it's kind of just like, oh, shut up, mate, just move on with the game.
Yeah, well, they
So
also
get
have
all
the
in their
ability.
face.
Well, they also have the ability to challenge it, so they can go, "Would you want to challenge it?" Moving on to the NRL, actually, I feel like Harry, we've covered that. It's a very interesting point. the Broncos in what some people are calling game of the year so far. It was kind of an injured Broncos. Came up short against the Cowboys in a lovely scoreline, 35-31. You love it. You love seeing an odd number in the NRL.
Yeah.
It's rare you get a double odd number. Really rare. But
Very
that
rare.
was a great game of rugby. Like, wouldn't have been nice
Bah.
for the Broncos to get a win, but with the injuries, I'm not surprised. But just a good, honest game. You got Scott Drinkwater nailed a great field goal from near on the sideline.
In his
That was
150th.
great. It's just a good game of rugby. I'm not angry as a Broncos fan. I don't think many Broncos fans would be overly angry.
Nah.
Like you
Pretty good
battered
effort.
and bruised, you'd lose some of them. It's a derby. It's a 4X derby. So,
And not only that, it's Cowboys 4 straight. I think also when you look at like the Broncos had Reece Walsh and Adam Reynolds out. They did go in home. They were at home going in as favourites. They then also
and Ben
had
Hunt.
Carrigan. Oh, and Ben Hunt and Carrigan was sin bin. Tom Duffy making his Broncos debut in the halves. I thought he was quite good, to be honest, for a young kid.
Yeah.
I thought he definitely he didn't look out of place. Also against his former side, he's a ex-Cowboy. Now I was just thinking off the top of my head, people that have played for both teams. Well, Tom Duffy, not Tom Duffy. Played both sides. Tom Duffy has played both sides. Antonio Winterstein, Ben Hannant. I reckon Shane Tronk might have. But again, I thought as a whole for the Broncos, looking back, I mean, I know everyone's a genius in hindsight. Looking back, I kind of went, oh, yeah, you know what? The eyes up play was probably to tip the cows. But you don't realise that until the game starts, where you kind of go into it going, no, the Broncos should be all right. The Broncos will be all right. But then it obviously happens and you're like, I've missed a trick there.
Yeah.
You've missed a big trick there.
Mr. Rugby
Sorry,
League
is
trick.
Rory
Well, you've missed a rugby league trick.
that over the back. I mean, sorry, on 13 here, it's probably the move, isn't it, to go so far left so you're not near the creek. Oh, this is going to be an exciting finish. Big game next week for the Broncos. They're going to still be a little bit depleted, and they're up against a red-hot West Tigers side.
Yeah, I kind of don't know who to tip for that one.
I reckon I'll tip the El Tigre.
It's at Suncorp, though.
Yeah, I've tipped Broncos, but that could change.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. Oh, sorry.
Look,
No. It's at Campbelltown. I will be tipping the West Tigers, which is crazy.
In my rugby league in our rugby league preview, I tipped Tigers to be a top 8 contender.
That's looking real good, that.
Everyone laughed at me. I do remember Aiden and Jed over in Vegas laughing at me. Well, I guess I
Who's
just
laughing now?
league. Yeah, I guess I
Who's
just love
laughing
rugby
now?
league.
From the wider NRL, we did see some crazy performances. The Bulldogs beat Penrith, who have looked unbelievable. And then not only that,
for tipping.
Storm with a stinker at home against the Warriors, which you never see.
Oh,
Started some calls of, well,
alarm bells.
are we seeing a downfall of Melbourne finally? I'm not ready to write them off, but Harry, you said you were a bit worried, weren't you?
3, 4 in a row they've lost? 3?
3, I think.
Yeah, I just think I'm not writing them off. But it's like, it's not. It's concerning.
Extremely. But you always, with Bellamy, and have shown over years and years, you just cannot write them off. They're too good. They are too good. Boys, we're going to finish with a little bit of Masters chat. Currently, Rory and Cam Young are off to the left on 13. Rory holds a 2-shot lead. Justin Rose has 4 holes to play. Rory and Cam Young have 6, 5 if you include the hole that they're on. let's look at the wider Masters as a whole. Rory came out hot the first 2 rounds with some exceptional golf. Held a 6-shot lead going into yesterday, where he then shot one over, a 73, that then meant that he was the tied leader at 11 under, and it was just kind of like he was kind of his own worst enemy yesterday. It reminded me of someone who had not yet won the Masters, and Rory of old. I would say as a whole, he's responded today. He's been a lot better. I've started a little bit shaky, but he's come back. What have you guys made of the Masters so far? We're obviously a little bit glued to it as we record now, like I'm sure many of our listeners are that will listen to this later. But the Masters of 2026, what have you made of it?
Well, this final round has been an all-time finish. It's looking like it's going to be. But it kind of like the first 2 rounds, you just kind of thought it was going to be the Rory show and he was going to shoot the lights out and win. But it's really come back to, be a pretty good finish.
It was good to see a day in amongst the mix. I know he hasn't done well today, but yeah, no, it was really good to see him in the mix. Adam Scott is 2 under. That's nice.
Cameron Smith misses another cut.
Yeah, we spoke about Cameron Smith going into this week. He's had another shocking week. It's going to be interesting. I mean, start of this record, we thought, Justin Rose, he's on. He might get redemption from last year. Amen Corner might have claimed another victim. We also thought, Scheffler could be there or thereabouts. He's still got a bit to go as well. I feel like, Harry, we say this every Masters. We go, this is shaping up to be an all-timer. But it's crazy, and it's why we love the Masters so much. So we're sitting here with 5 holes of the last group to play, and you still have no idea where it's going to go, even though a guy's got a 2-shot lead. Yeah, I thought Rory yesterday was one of those where you're kind of sitting there going like, what are you doing? What is happening? But again, it's just the elite nature of elite sport. He just finds a way to hang in there. Cam Young shoots 7 under, which on Cameron Young, the last 2 players that have won the Players' Championships have won the Masters. He won the Players this year. So can it be a trend to come? So
Rory does have a couple of bogeys in him, so you don't know.
Mate, exactly right. Exactly right. It's going to be an exciting finish. Boys, as we sit here, obviously, as we mentioned before, we're nearly done. To round off this episode, who is winning today? So people, when they listen to this, it will have already happened. So who do you have winning the Masters, Harry?
Justin Rose, McIlroy, and Cam Young will eat themselves up. They'll fall in a heap, and Justin Rose will finally get his green jacket.
Gus?
Look, I'm going to have to go with Rory. He's been playing unbelievable golf. So, yeah. He's also got a 2-shot lead, so.
Yeah, I'm going to tip Rory. I think he can hang on. He showed last year. If he showed last year, he just had he would have had more demons in his head last year than he's going to have right now. I just think he'll stand firm. Both of these guys have got not a straightforward putt here on 13 for birdie, so they might both walk off at 12 under and 10 under. I just think he's, it would be huge. Like, there's only been 3 other guys that have gone back to back. It's Tiger, Nick Faldo, and Jack Nicklaus. If we add a 4th to that, that would be absolutely huge. And we'll be captivated.
Hey, everyone. What you're about to hear is me doing a solo Masters wrap now that the Masters is finished. Rory McIlroy, back-to-back champion, only the 4th ever. I thought it would be right for you guys to sit down and get at least one of the trio's final thoughts. And considering my brothers are currently harvesting, you've got me, Lachlan, the eldest brother, and the host. Wow. What a wonderful Masters Sunday. Rory entered the last round tied with Cameron Young at 11 under after blowing a 6-shot lead in the 3rd round. And there was a kind of a feeling where it was like, is this happening again? Is Rory going to bottle it after the breakthrough of last year? Is he going to bottle it and let one of the biggest leads in Masters history go and ultimately end up having a bit of a meltdown. Now, obviously, that hasn't happened, but we didn't know that at the time. It has been one of the great Masters Sundays. So it looked for a bit there like Justin Rose was going to surge on and have a late run like he did last year. He faded late. Scheffler shot a bogey-free 68 to finish in the clubhouse at 11 under, which put the pressure on Cameron Young and Rory McIlroy when eventually Young faded with 3 bogeys on a 4-hole stretch early on the back 9. And after that, it just left Rory, who gets through and ends up winning. He hit a shot that it looked like I was hitting at Augusta on 18 with a massive slice to the right. But he finishes the round 1 under, holds on, bogeys the last. And he nearly had a Tiger moment on 16 where he went the putter and curves it back in, obviously being in a similar spot where Tiger was, where he hit that famous chip where it just touches the Nike logo as it drops in. One of the perfect advertisers things for Nike, I think, as an advertisement. But he kind of held on. He did his work early. He also then, that was after a birdie 2 on 3. He then bogeys 4 and then birdies 7 and 8. Sorry, he bogeyed 6 and then he birdied 7 and 8 before going par on 9, 10, 11, before then 12 and 13. He birdied and then birdied again back to back before then obviously bogeying, and he just held on and got home in a way that, he smashes it right off the tee, and then he's then in the pine straw. He then gets it out and puts it in the front left bunker on 18. He then gets a ball that was pretty nestled in there. The commentators were talking about how they were worried that it was plugged in, but he gets it out and he dribbles it up and 2 putts in for his bogey, and the first back-to-back Masters champion since Tiger. So he now joins an illustrious list. Nicholas did it in 65, 66. Faldo did it in 89, 90, and then Tiger in 2001 and 2002. That's the company Rory McIlroy's in now. Let that sink in. Rory McIlroy is the 4th golfer in history to go back-to-back at the Masters, which is just crazy. And the thing that's pulsing through my head at the moment is Rory, for years, he bursts onto the scene as this young, aggressive golfer, hits it a long way, had impeccable control. He wins those 3 majors quickly. Sorry, 4 majors quickly. And he then, the thing that eluded him his whole career until last year was he had never won at Augusta. He'd never won at Augusta. And we saw last year an emotional monkey off the back in what I describe as the greatest displays of sports psychology, just to hold your nerve. And there's so many times where we thought he was down and out and it was going to be, same old Rory, but he comes back. And not only that, he comes back and wins in a playoff hole, which is the ultimate mental strength. And it was so impressive. And you saw the outpouring of emotion and off the back of all the live stuff and him being the face of the PGA Tour, he comes out and conquers his Everest. He becomes, one of the players in recent history that completes the career Grand Slam. And he climbed his Everest. He conquered his mountain that had been plaguing him for so many years. And it was a great sports story. And so there was a bit of a different feeling when he was coming back this year of, can he be the first to go back to back? And early on in the first round, then the second round, he's 6 shots in front. You go, gee, we're seeing a Tiger of 97 here. But then he has the round he had in the third round, and then he has the fourth round where he only went 1 under, where you kind of go, geez, it's tight. But again, he holds firm, he gets the job done, and he joins some He joined some elite company. And I think, again, with Rory this time around, it's not the fact that he won. Yes, it's impressive that he won the Masters. It will always be impressive. But I think it's just how he won. He blew a 6-shot lead. He then went 3 back at one stage on Sunday with Rose leading. And he found the nerve to come back and close it out. Most players never recover from that, well, like what happened to him on Saturday. He did it twice in the one tournament. Twice in the one tournament, he recovered from multiple shots back, blowing a huge lead and holds his nerve. And it's a testament to the work that Rory's done mentally, where he hasn't let that implode. He's learnt from his mistakes. And he said that every single time he's left Augusta, where he looks back and he reflects on his time at Augusta, he talks about how he can pinpoint exactly what went wrong at each point. And I think that's so impressive. And it's a testament to always going back to the well, always trying, pressing on, always trying to learn, and not throwing your toys out of the cot, but instead going, what can I take from that experience that will benefit me in the future? And you can tell as he struts around Augusta as a back-to-back champion and throughout that final round, and throughout this, to be honest, throughout this whole Masters in 2026, you can see that he's learned from his mistakes. He's not making the same mistakes, but he is making similar mistakes, but he's responding to them better. And that's a testament to him as the ultimate professional. I think the narrative of his career was this was the guy that couldn't win at Augusta. He's now done it twice, back to back. He completed the Grand Slam last year, like we keep talking about. It was so impressive. And as I said before, it is one of the greatest stories of the modern era for someone who has had so much pain at Augusta to then be someone who has gone back to back. There's been so many golfers that aren't even closer. Like the fact we're talking about Jack Nicklaus, Nick Faldo, and Tiger, like Tiger, who we class as one of the greatest, probably the greatest golfer of all time, is outrageous. And the birdie he got on 12 in the final round, that was the moment. That was when we knew, oh, this guy's back. And he steadied, and that was when it was like, okay, we're there, and this he can hold firm, and he can do this. He's not going to implode like Rory has in the past. Now, so where does Rory sit in the GOAT conversation? So Rory McIlroy has won the Open Championship, the US Open. US Open was 2011, Open was 2014. He's won the PGA twice, both in 2012, 2014. There is 4 Master clumps. Right? He's now won 6 when you include his 2 Masters victories. Both, obviously, back to back. Where does he sit? Where does he sit amongst the all-time greats? Because he is one of the only golfers who has done the career Grand Slam. He joins Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Rory McIlroy. So he's only one of 6 golfers. So he instantly, for me, is in the 6 best golfers of all time. Now you go through that list: Augusta, Dolph's Everest. From that group, only Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Rory have done it. So does that put him top 3? That's a question we've got to ask. He's only 36. He's got a lot of golf in front of him. A lot of golf in front of him, which is going to be really exciting to play out. It feels like we've got a Rory who's got the shackles off. You know, he's like the final boss. He's learned from his mistakes, and he's coming to be the golfer we always knew he could be. One of the thoughts I've had is that Rory McIlroy has always been the guy. The last 15 years, everyone's known Rory's the guy. You know, his longevity, the way he plays, everything. He's always been the guy. Now it's solidified. Rory McIlroy, back-to-back Masters champion, career Grand Slam winner. He's the guy. And the other guy who I think is up there, and the other 2 we saw competing, Cameron Young and Scotty Scheffler, are coming out as quite a competitive trio. Cameron Young, he had a fantastic tournament. He came from nowhere to challenge. That 3rd round, he was taking the mickey a bit, wasn't he? Like, it was some incredible golf. He got on a heater and he put himself right in the conversation, and he'll only take some really good lessons and some really good learnings from this experience. Not only that, he won the Players. And I think it's TPC Sawgrass is very representative of if you've got the game to hold up at majors, it's how well can you play at Sawgrass. And he was excellent this year at Sawgrass in the players. So I think there's definitely majors in Cameron Young's future. He's still only 27. He's got plenty of awesome golf ahead of him. And then Scotty Scheffler, he just keeps getting it done. New father of two. And he's just got this carefree, wonderful attitude to the way that he approaches things. And I think it really benefits him. He doesn't feel like he carries the weight of his own expectations on his shoulders. He's very relaxed. He's very okay with whatever outcome happens. He's obviously a dog. Like, he tries really hard and is an ultimate professional and incredibly talented golfer, but you can tell that he plays like someone who is okay with what happens either way. He obviously desperately wants to win, but he's okay if it doesn't go that way, and he doesn't see it as the be-all and end-all, which means that he doesn't carry this massive weight of expectations on his shoulders, there's plenty of videos online of him talking about that, which means that he plays with this free style. And he just quietly goes about his business. He shot a bogey-free 68 to finish 11 under, and he would have been sitting there in Butler Cabin waiting, hoping that it could potentially be him or it goes to a playoff. It wasn't to be, but there's more Masters in his future, and I think there's definitely more majors in Scheffler's future as well. Rory McIlroy, I have him as one of the greatest golfers of all time. A back-to-back Masters champion. It's insanely impressive considering the live stuff, the way he has imploded at Augusta in the past and in other majors, to just keep coming back and keep putting yourself in the conversation and to not shy away and to run towards the danger and embrace it and embrace the spotlight and the concern and the question of can Rory do it? To not only answer those last year at Augusta, but to come back and win at Augusta. Unbelievable. It's why we love the Masters. And another epic Masters Sunday concludes with the fourth back-to-back champion in history. A Masters Sunday that will live on in history. Cheers, guys.
That's going to be it for us. So you've got our Masters predictions there. We hope you enjoyed your Masters experience. We hope you enjoyed your Gather Round experience. Episode 1 of the Town Files is dropping a reminder on Thursday. Harry is the first one in the hot seat. We've got a couple of boys that are getting ready to go off and rip and tear on a chaser bit and a header. That's Harry and Angus. That's been Talk of the Town. And we'll catch you next week for another one.
Thank you.
All righty. See you later.
Bye.
Bye now.